Welcome to the Arrington Gavin Show. Real talk, big opinions, and fearless conversations. From the front lines of politics to the latest in pop culture. From breaking sports headlines to the stories that move the world. Nothing's off limits, and nobody's holding back. Arrington Gavin is here to break it down, build it up, and keep it all the way real. So turn it up, lean in, and let's get into it. This is the Arrington Gavin Show.
What is happening, ladies and gents? Welcome to another great episode of the Arrington Gavin Show, your go-to spot for sharp insights, bold opinions, and unfiltered takes on the biggest stories of the day. Whether it is politics, sports, pop culture, or the latest buzz, look, we're diving deep and keeping it real. So please do me a favor, kick back, stay informed, and get ready to join the conversation. Look, my friends, on tonight's convo, we welcome back my dear friend, Dr. Eric Claville. He is a political and legal analyst, host of Stay of the Water, the award-winning radio program where you can find, as well as the Claville Report, the award-winning Claville Report. Both shows you can tune into weekly Sundays. I believe State of the Water is at 10 a.m. and then the Claville Report, I want to say, is 12:30 p.m. He can correct me if I'm wrong on those numbers, but the man is a busy guy. He's a busy guy when it comes to talking politics and analyzing the political landscape, especially not just here in the Hampton Roads area, but abroad. And so I always I'm glad to have him on. And as he's extremely busy right now, he just he has a few minutes of his time to come here on the show as we talk about some of the primary results as well as predictions going on in these 2026 midterms. And if we have a little time at the end, I would like to see his predictions for 2028, because each time he comes, it's like we space it out. So if his contenders has changed, or what are the chances, X, Y, and Z. So long story short, y'all, you're in for a treat. And I'm always thrilled to have Dr. Claville on. But most importantly, y'all, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule, tuning in for yet another great convo here on the Arrington Gavin Show. As you know, we drop new episodes weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcast. You can also check us out. On demand, past episodes of the Arrington Gavin Show on the GOATverse TV app. So please do me a favor, download that app. It's available on the App Store, Google Play Store, Roku, as well as Amazon Fire TV. So those are just, again, multiple ways you can tune into the program. We continue to grow our audience and expand our reach, and we want to continue to, again, just grow great conversation. We have fun, but we also love to inform you all and keep you up to speed as what's happening in our world, whether it's on a local level, state level, or even a federal level. You can also follow us on social media on Instagram at the Arrington Gavin Show. You can also follow us on Blue Sky and X, all under the same handle, AG Show Live. And yes, and also Substack too. Can't forget Substack as we continue to grow those platforms. And then lastly, check out our website. If you want to get in touch with me, send me an email. You can go on our website, www.theagshow.com. All righty. Now that I got that out the way, my friends, look, I wanted to have as much time with my good friend, Dr. Eric Claville, because as I mentioned, he is a very busy man. It is election season here in the Hampton Roads area, but it's midterm. So we have elections, primaries that went down in Michigan already, Minnesota, Kansas, Washington. As of today, as we do this recording, it's primary day in Florida. I'm blanking on the other few states, but I know Florida is a big one because you have, huge primaries going on in the governor's race as well as congressional. So we're going to get it going with Dr. Eric Claville, my dear friend, political and legal analyst. Dr. Claville, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Arrington. Thank you so much for having me as always.
Oh, man. Well, look, the pleasure's all mine. First and foremost, man, how have you been? It's been a very exciting season. Busy cycle. I gotta always, full disclosure, whenever you get on, I always gotta throw in the fact that this is the man that has now got me watching C-SPAN. I used to think C-SPAN was one of the most boringest channels, and I was glued to C-SPAN and C-SPAN 1 and C-SPAN 2 because yesterday the House Speaker Mike Johnson was in town on the campaign trail for Congresswoman Jen Kiggans for CD2. And so they actually had it. They were airing that press conference on C-SPAN. So hey, again, you got me being an avid watcher, Dr. Claville.
Well, there is a C-SPAN 3 as well. So.
Oh, geez. Oh, gosh. Don't get me started.
That's if you're interested in lectures and looking at, conferences and summits, fireside chats that took place and all that good stuff. So something good to fill your Saturday morning with. So just FYI.
Well, like I said, man, you got me watching it and I'm just like, what in the world? But it is very informative. So I do appreciate that. But yeah, how's everything been going, Dr. Claville? I know you've been involved in a lot of forums here in the Hampton Roads area where we have some folks representing us like Congressman Bobby Scott, Senator Mark Warner. I mean, you are heavily involved in a number of things, and you were also on our local news cycle not too long ago during our primaries here in Virginia, along with former Governor Bob McDonnell, Republican Bob McDonnell. So how is the landscape looking in your eyes, at least for the state of Virginia? We have 13 congressional districts in the state of Virginia.
Yeah, we have 11 congressional districts and of course 2 U.S. senators, which gives us a total of 13 representatives in the total Congress. Got
you. What's your the two district that I have been really paying attention the most is CD1, which is currently held by Congressman Rob Whitman, who has been a longstanding congressman in that district. And, a lot of folks are the goal for the Democratic Party is to flip that district. And then you got CD2, which has been kind of like a purple district. It's been back and forth. It's currently held by Republican Jen Kiggins, who has won the last 2 terms. And then prior to that, you had Democrat Elaine Loria, who had served that position also 2 terms. So, I mean, give us your take, Dr. Claville. How, whichever one you would like to, mention first.
Sure. So first of all, I want to thank the people of Hampton Roads and all of the media outlets. I do work with CBS affiliate here. I work with ABC affiliate, been featured on CNN. Of course, WHRO, the NPR affiliate here, and our station, WNSB Hot 91 of Solar, VA, where you mentioned earlier, my 2 shows appear every Sunday, 10 o'clock on Sunday morning, Stay the Water, and 12:30. So you're right, the Claville Report. So you're on point there.
Thank you. No script, by the way, no script. I was going based on memory as a fan.
That's right. So I just want to thank the people for trusting me to come on and listen to what I have to say. One great thing about the Commonwealth of Virginia is that we have an important election every single year. Now you can get a little election fatigue, but that is this year is extremely important. Mm-hmm. This year, the balance of Congress is at hand. Now, what is the significance of that? Whoever controls Congress will basically either contest, stop, or rubber stamp the president's agenda moving forward the next 2 years. Okay? Mm-hmm. So if you like the direction that our country is going, then you keep the control of Congress with the Republican side, where it is now. If you don't like it, then you contest it with your vote and change it up, right? In order to get a true check and balance against the executive branch of the government. With that being the case, there are 2 districts, really 3, in Virginia that are going to be very important that could flip and also help flip the control of Congress or keep the control of Congress where it is. Congressional District 1, as you mentioned, here in Hampton Roads, and 2 are very important. The other is the seat where Charlottesville is located, where current Republican Congressman McGuire is representing that district, and former U.S. Congressman Tom Perriello is challenging him. Okay, very important. With that being the case, if 1, 2, or all 3 of those districts flip, then it's a very good chance that the Democrats will control Congress. However, if they stay Republican, it's a very good chance that control of Congress will stay with the Republican side. Now, you mentioned earlier with Congressional District 1, Rob Whitman is a longtime serving U.S. Congressman there. He is on his double-digit years of being reelected and serving in that district. With that being the case, it's going to be very hard for a challenger. However, You do have Shannon Taylor, who is the Democratic nominee,
Mhm.
who put up really good numbers and put her. She is the lead prosecutor or Commonwealth's attorney here in
Mhm.
Virginia for district outside county, right outside of Richmond.
Mhm.
So she put up a really, really good display on the political trail when she ran for the Democratic nomination for Attorney General. Of course, that was against Jay Jones.
Mhm.
So she has a good profile and she can put up a really good challenge in this area. So we'll see what happens there. Right now, the district, of course, we know did not change because they failed redistricting, which the citizens voted for
Yep.
overwhelmingly, but the Supreme Court by one vote
Yep.
overturned.
Over 3 million people voted in favor for that, which I had been open at the time and didn't mean to cut you off. I had been open on this program of like I wasn't too fond of gerrymandering. I understood the reason behind why they were pursuing, obviously, but wasn't a fan of it. That being the case, over 3 million people in Virginia voted in favor. Supreme Court shut it down, and now it's back to which in before the redistricting, the Democrats did have the majority, I believe, by one seat. I think in as far as on Congress, so they did have the majority, but
6-5.
now it's
You're right.
yep. So now it's the now it's still back to the drawing board with that.
No, you're exactly right. But with that being the case, it's going to be very hard to challenge it,
Mhm.
but not difficult. I mean, not impossible,
Mhm.
but it will be hard to challenge it. But again, the way that the main issues that are driving voters to the other side are the economy, the war,
Mhm.
and then also the direction of the United States as it relates to our democracy, which all favor the challenging party, which are the Democrats. So we'll see where that goes. But Congressional District 2, now that's the one.
This the one right here, man. I've been
That's the
glued to
one.
this district. I actually live in that district too, so hence why I've
Okay.
been kind of glued to that one.
Well, Arrington, that district is a very unique district. It's the most purple district in the United States. Think about that.
Wow.
So this district has flipped every 4 years, just about, since 2008. And this is a very interesting fact. Since 2008, whichever candidate won that district, their party controlled Congress.
Okay.
So we're looking at 18, almost 20 years of that particular, 18 years of that particular trend that we find. Now, we'll see what happens moving forward. But I mentioned earlier that whoever wins those districts, more than likely the control of Congress will be in that party's hands. So this will be the district where I believe the most money will be spent. Now, we do have, and we'll talk about the new wave of progressives. Some Republicans are calling them Democratic Socialists. But the progressive arm of the party, or I should say the Bernie Sanders arm, right, of the party, they're getting a lot more momentum. And again, this is because of the economy and healthcare, championing Medicare for all, which we did have for years under the former President Obama and the Affordable Care Act, which of course was nullified effectively by removing funding from it by the president and the Republican Congress. Now, with that being the case, a lot of people are suffering and losing health care coverage, which previously had it under the Americans, under the Obamacare. So the Affordable Care Act, also known as the popular name Obamacare. Here in the Commonwealth, we have over 700,000 people that are losing health care coverage, okay? So when you talk about Medicare for all, people are like, oh, that's a communist or socialist mantra. Well, it's called universal health care. And universal health care is something that they have in Europe and a lot of Western states, except for the United States. The Affordable Care Act was the closest we've ever had to it, right? So there is something to that's gaining a lot of steam. Now, some would say, well, there's no way that we could do that or afford that. Well, I'm a veteran and I served in the military. And if you serve and if you retire from it or you become a veteran, you get an opportunity to have your health care taken care of because of your service in the military. So we do have a model that actually works in the United States, right? On a large scale, very large scale. And of course, Hampton Roads being a great place for the military, our great military, and our veterans. I mean, it's actually a phenomenal region to live in. Now, I don't work, for the tourism bureau, but I would listen. I would tell anyone, I'll put this region up against any region in the United States. So again, it's just a phenomenal region, and our veterans love it, our military love it, and we love them back. So that district is going to be very important. And what things that transpire in the military overseas, especially the long deployments, they're going to play a major part in who citizens vote for. And finally, when you go to the gas station, I don't know about you, but it did this, then it dipped down.
I start checking out the nearest bikes. I'm like, okay, let me check out these little scooters, these green scooters on the side. Let me grab one of these, hop on these for a second, get a good head start.
I'm telling you, it's hitting people in the pocketbook.
It is.
And not just our gasoline that we need to travel, but goods, and services. If you want to order something now, automatically there's an extra gasoline fee, well, they put a convenience fee, right? I don't know if it's convenient for you to pay extra, but it's a convenience fee that's placed on there for delivery charge because of the high gas prices. If you go to the grocery store, it's a higher price because of the gasoline. And this is all because of the war in Iran.
And so, that all being said,
all that's going to play a part. All that's going to play.
And looking at that, it's like, for me, I feel as though it's harder work for the Republicans on the campaign trail, especially during this midterms, when you do have, as you mentioned, an ongoing war that has not stopped. You obviously have an individual, in our president who continues his regular rhetoric, which can seem to be like, okay, why'd you say that? Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? Like he has not changed his persona by all means. Right. And he will say one thing here, and then yet other folks will be like, well, I'm seeing this and I'm seeing that. So who's telling the truth and who's being honest here? And it does affect these elected officials. That being said, what's your predictions? At least let's just, kind of keep it in the state of Virginia real quick. What are your predictions, Dr. Claville, on those 3 districts that you had pointed out earlier? Now, I have my theory as far as with this one. At least for CD2, I see it going to Elaine. As far as for CD1, I see it going to Whitman. And now that last one that you had mentioned, because Perriello had served before in Congress, so it is unique. So what are your predictions, at least on the outcome on those district races?
Yeah, I think the Democrats have a great opportunity to pick up at least 2 of those seats. I have CV2, as you mentioned, Congressional District 2 going there, flipping. It's all indicators show it. And then I think it's going to be very close in Congressional District 1. But I do think Ron Whitman would come out on top. But again, it's going to be very close because it really depends on what happens with the war around that time period.
Gotcha.
And then finally, I think the district where Charlottesville is the seat, I think it's going to be a big push out there. And I think it flips. I think it flips.
Okay. You heard it here, folks. We're gonna remember that during election night. I'm gonna remember that. I'll be like, because I always text you during election night as well. Hey, look, what do you think about this one?
Right. So look, I see the Dems going 7-4 at the very best 8-3.
Oh wow. 7-4. Okay, 7-4, 8-3. I'm putting this on my notes here. So I'm always intrigued with it. And then lastly, we do have a Senate race happening. Again, Mark Warner, who has been a longstanding U.S. Senator here. He's running for his 4th term. He will be up against and say one more time.
No, okay, yeah, he is. Okay, so he'll be there 24 years, so it's a 4th term. You're correct.
Yeah, well, 6-year terms in it. Yeah, so but he's been there in that seat for for a while and successful at that role as well. He does have a Republican opponent, Burt, and I had to look up his name early so I can try to. I might buffer it a little bit, but Mizuswa, who is a retired major general, in the Army. He has worked under in the Trump administration before. Somebody who, I would say was already a shoo-in to be the Republican nominee once he started his election, because he started actually late in the Republican primary and won in some large votes. I would say in I think it was like three people in that whole primary. So I mean, what do you think the outcome will be with this one? I kind of know your outcome with this, but if you don't mind, sharing just a little bit about the outcome with this race.
Senator Mark Warner served, former governor, a popular governor, more so a centrist, along with the junior senator Tim Kaine, and he's won re-election handily every single time, even when there's been a challenger more robust than the one that we have now. With that being the case, I think the Republicans will lose this election, and I think that across the board, Senator Warner will be reelected. He is a senior member of Congress and the Senate. He sits on some very, very important committees and chairs very important committees as well. And to have him there representing the Commonwealth for another 6 years is very important for us. So we're looking forward to, having that representation if he wins re-election, which I believe he will.
So coming out of the state of Virginia, and not trying to pinpoint every single state, because there's been a number of primaries that have already had their results. As I mentioned earlier, the day we were doing this recording, there's the Florida primaries happening, which you have former Congressman Byron Donald running for governor. He's in a packed Republican primary. You also who's also backed by the president heavily. Yes, endorsed by President Donald Trump. You have a former Republican Congressman, David Jolly, who has since left the party, and he's running as a Democrat. He's looking at as one of the as the shoo-in to win this primary. But we have a number of races happening. But I guess the big convo I want to have with you, Dr. Claville, is this whole divide within the Democratic Party between your moderates, your centrists, and your progressives, where you've mentioned sometimes the progressives can be pushed towards DSA. I've said it here on this show, is I kind of look at them as similar, but then I've read up on them. I've noticed folks who are progressive that say, hey, look, we don't condone really DSA. And DSA is an organization, by the way. DSA is really not a position within the Democratic Party. I actually heard that from former DNC chair Donna Brazile, who mentioned that publicly. So with this disconnect, we've seen a lot of quote unquote establishment candidates, even incumbents, lose their primaries. Michigan, you had Haley Stevens, a former congresswoman out of Michigan, lost her race to Abdul El Sayed, who is a progressive. He doesn't consider himself a democratic socialist, but he has been supported by folks who are affiliated with that. I'm blanking. There's been a number of DSA candidates who have won, like in New York, who were endorsed by Mayor Zohran Mamdani. There's been a number of interesting races out there, but in my view, I don't see that as a huge shift in the overall Big Ten Democratic Party. Personally, I don't. I look at it as, hey, look, you have some progressives that they're great when it comes to messaging. They're great when it comes to their ground game. But when it gets to that general, I don't know. The outcome always comes up short. I mean, in my opinion. What's your stance on just this whole, disconnect? And it's like, it's talking points. It's ammunition for the right to say, hey, look, do you want these people, running for you, serving you? So what's your take, Dr. Claville?
Sure. I think you hit the nail on the head. It is a Big Ten, the Democratic Party. And a lot of if you look at the major principles of it, each organization represents that, right? Or, I'm sorry, not organization, but each group within the party represents that. And you have, so you have your centrists, you have those that are more conservative, you have those that are more liberal, progressives, then you have what's called the DSA, right?
Yes.
Now, the DSA, I'm going to refer to that as the XFL, the Democratic Party, right? There were some, it's football, but there were some very creative, wild things in the XFL that made it exciting and different. But what ended up happening, it folded, right? Didn't really have a lot of support. But some of the things that they did there, the innovative things, was translated to the NFL. You remember the zoom in camera that came close on the field?
Yep.
And the NFL didn't do that. The XFL did that. But it was so popular, it was so innovative, and it added to the game that they adopted. So what I see happening is that there will be some of the ideas that DSA has that will be modified and added to the actual in practice when you look at policy, and also maybe even on the platform. When you get the stump speeches going. So I don't foresee anyone DSA from that organization winning nationwide, statewide, anything of that nature. Now, in some pockets of communities, you will get candidates that win, and that happens. You see it in the Republican Party. You saw it with the Tea Party. You saw it with the birthers. There was just a small group, but they ended up having a candidate. Now, of course, this era of politics is going to be studied for generations to come, because you have a candidate that basically embraced that side, that MAGA side, and those extreme of the Republican Party. And these things that are hid in the dark chat rooms have made it to policy and have become policy makers, right?
Yep.
Case in point, RFK Jr. and our health and vaccines, taking fluoride out of water, all these unfounded theories that we have, just blasted over, different email streams. Remember the chain emails?
Yep.
You have to tell your friends, don't send me this, or you block everybody, right? The chain emails, the TikToks and things of that nature. These things that we have from those, now those theories are in policy. But with the Democratic Party, I don't foresee that being the actual case, because again, the foundation is really about representation, inclusion. It's about democracy, true checks and balances. It's about process. It's about giving the people the voice, which is the total opposite of what the Republican Party represents now. So I don't foresee that arm of the party being so significant that they will hamper, handcuff, or halt any of the Democratic agenda in the event that they take the House and also the White House in 2028.
Do you see them as them meaning just the Democratic Party, those that are in leadership right now, or just say the DNC? Do you see them? Is it hurting them if they don't embrace some of the, I don't know, some of the causes that progressives, / DSA affiliate folks are pushing for? If they don't embrace some of that stuff, is it going to hurt the Democrats further on, because the Democrats are kind of in rebuilding stage right now, and their goal is to win elections. Their goal is to stop MAGA and get them win the majority. Do you see that as hurting them, or it will hurt them if they do embrace it? Because I mentioned that because the Raising Cajun, James Carville, he's been against this progressive movement really for the longest. He said, hey, look, they need to start their own party. I want them out of the my Democratic Party. And so that being said, do you see them helping or hurting the Big Tent Party, I guess?
It really all depends. It's how they come together and coalesce around the issue.
I got you.
Like I said, good ideas, extreme methods, some would say. So when you bring those together, right, how does it work? Now, many people say, oh, we can't pay for that and so forth. Well, we have a deficit that is exploding under this administration. So we're paying for something. But apparently it's not healthcare or food, because we cut that, the Republican Congress cut that. So it's not an extreme idea to say, hey, I want to have enough money for people to eat or supplement them. It's called SNAP. We had money for it. Just bring it back. It's not extreme to say, hey, I want people to be able to afford healthcare. We had that. It was called the Affordable Care Act. Just bring it back. Is again, these ideas are not so extreme because we've had a lot of them in practice. So I think when you take those ideas and then look at what we've had in practice and communicate it effectively, you'll see that we've been here before.
Final 2 minutes. I know you got to go, Dr. Claville. 2028. First overall prediction of this 2026 midterms, and then a two-part question. The second question will be, has your predictions changed as far as who will come up and run on the Democratic side and Republican side for 2028?
Well, first of all, I think the Democrats will take control of Congress, meaning the House of Representatives first, between 50 and 70 seats. It all depends, right?
Okay.
Because keep in mind, there was redistricting in majority red states.
Yep. Tennessee.
Basically eliminated a lot of congressional Black caucus seats.
Yes.
Now we will have white representation in a lot of areas where historically we've had African American representation. With the Supreme Court basically supporting. And in some Democratic states, more like Virginia, we had our highest court strike those down. But California, they did achieve the redistricting there as well. Again, as a response to what the president and the Republican control Congress did. Now, as it relates to what will happen in the Senate, I'm not, it's going to be close. Whether the Senate remains in the control of the Republicans. If so, it'll be extremely close, maybe by 1-2 seats at the most, or even a 50-50 split, which we know the vice president breaks all those ties, right? So they still would have, in effect, control. But the other part is when we look at 2028. Well, I think as it relates to 2026 to 28 and the president's agenda, or 27 in effect, you would have a valid check and balance against those agendas. So therefore, you'll see a lot of his agenda stall, stop, or be halted, right? Now, with 2028 coming up, I haven't really made any predictions per se of who will get the nomination, but I will say this, that you will see candidates that are, for the most part, traditional candidates. And when I say traditional, we're looking at the current president that we have now. All right, so we're going to go away from that. Republicans will nominate a more traditional type of Republican. That won't be as extreme in its approach, but may be extreme in their ideas, stick with it. So that's going to be very interesting. On the Democratic side, I think you will see a traditional Democrat who will work with the extremes of the party, the progressives and the DSA, in order to get a message, get around a message. Because at the end of the day, it's really about winning and proper order, right?
Gotcha.
A lot of Americans just want proper order. They're not saying we agree with everything either side says. It just says go through the proper process, proper order. Go through the debates, go through the bills passing to one chamber to the other. Some would say, and I believe out of ignorance and some frustration, government doesn't work. Government works very well if you simply work government the way it's supposed to work. It's meant to be deliberate for a reason, because you can't make decisions just out of emotion. Businesses do that, and businesses go bankrupt when they do that. We can't afford to go bankrupt, right? Because we have not just the nation in our hands, but we have the future and also the world in our hands as well. So I think that's where we are for 2028. As far as candidates go, I'll come back after the midterms and we'll talk more about them.
Okay. See, that's what Dr. Claville do. He always keep you on the fence. He like, and this will continue after. We'll be back next season. Well, Dr. Claville, look, I truly appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule, and we truly appreciate the info that, your stance that you have brought to this program. And again, we appreciate you. You're always welcome, and we gonna hold you to it after those midterms. Now we're gonna hold you to it after those midterms. I'm gonna shoot you a call, shoot you a text. Well, you have a great one, my friend, and be sure, my friends, to follow Dr. Claville on all platforms. Be sure to tune in for those in the Hampton Roads area. Well, not just in the Hampton Roads, so you can go on the WNSB app as well to check out your radio program, Save the Water, as well as the Claville Report. I am a regular listener. That's where I get my a part of getting my news at. And it's awesome as well. You can catch him on Another View as well, because he's brings on his political take on there with our good friend Barbara Ham Lee, who hosts that iconic program out here in the area. So, my friend, as always, thank you again, and we appreciate you.
All right, see you next time.
Take care, family and friends. I hope you enjoyed yet another great convo here on the Arrington Gavin Show. and until next time, stay safe, stay blessed. And you know how we always do, right? We continue to give you all the great insight and keep you up to speed as what's happening on our in our world, whether it's on a federal level, state, local level. Dr. Claville, he's someone who has always given his feedback, his take on that. And look, a true scholar, by the way, because I can't always gravitate to all this stuff. I give my opinion, but I bring on experts like Dr. Claville to expand why I have that opinion and if I'm somewhat right or wrong with that. So hope you enjoyed this convo, y'all. Be sure to continue to tune into the Arrington Gavin Show weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, as well as wherever you get your podcasts. Peace and blessings. Talk with you soon. I'm out.
That's it for tonight on the Arrington Gavin Show. Thanks for tapping in and keeping the conversation alive. Don't forget, stay connected with us on all platforms. Follow at Arrington Gavin on Instagram, Blue Sky, and X, and subscribe to the official Substack for exclusive takes and deep dives you won't get anywhere else. We're here every weeknight, same time, same energy, same real talk. Until next time, stay bold, stay sharp, and stay true. That's what we do on the Arrington Gavin Show. Peace.